Hi guys, and welcome back to another classic movie review. Today we're going to be talking about the silent classic, The General, directed and stars Buster Keaton, one of the great stars of the silent era alongside Charlie Chaplin. This is the first Buster Keaton film I've ever seen. It's made in 1926, and I've heard a lot about this film, especially its train sequence, some of the action, and how it inspired modern filmmakers such as Spielberg and many others in making their action scenes and certain stunts that have been performed since his day. And did I enjoy The General? Well, yes I did, and I'm going to let you know why I did so. So, overall, as you'd expect from a silent comedy, the movie is incredibly funny. It has fantastic physical comedy. Moments on the train which are incredibly entertaining, and Keaton has a distinctive style, a style that's different from other silent filmmakers such as Chaplin, which I'll get into later in the video. But just great scenes. There's a sequence on the train involving a water hose. There's one involving some wood for the train, which is very entertaining. My favourite scene, personally, is a scene involving a bear trap, where he tries to get his girlfriend's her ankle out of the bear trap, and he keeps getting his hands and his feet stuck in the bear trap, and it's a very entertaining scene. And I really enjoyed that, and I felt like his comedy was just as funny as Chaplin's, but maybe just a little bit more subtle. And of course, as I mentioned, the train sequence, which is incredibly revolutionary for cinema in terms of chases, in terms of action, as well as comedy. And it does everything that I just mentioned brilliantly. And the fact that this movie was made in 1926 is really astonishing, that they managed to do the things they did. And knowing what Buster Keaton did in his other films, you know that he did these things. You know that the things that are happening on screen, he did them. These are his own stunts, and that he did everything that you see on screen, and that adds so much to the film. Like nowadays with Tom Cruise, you know that Buster Keaton did these stunts, and that just adds so much weight to the sequences. The other thing is the actual action itself, the actual movement of the train, the shots. It's very exciting as well as being funny and entertaining, and it really combines all those elements really well. There's a particular scene as well that I missed out, which I found hilarious, which was a scene involving him giving instructions to some people on cannons, where he wanted them to point them and shoot. And you can see that there's a lot of sequences in this film that inspire many other films. They're getting told the instructions by Keaton, and as he's telling them the instructions, each one of them gets shot. It's set in a battlefield. And I feel like, I can't pick out a specific film, but I feel like I've seen that sequence before, and you can tell that Keaton has inspired so many other comedians after the making of this film and his other films, as well as action filmmakers with this train sequence. Now, the other films that I can think of off the top of my head that is really inspired in terms of its train sequence is Spielberg in The Last Crusade. The train sequence in that movie, with them walking along the top of the train, and a lot of the comedy throughout that sequence. There's a lot in a lot of movies that is very similar to Keaton. You have a train sequence early in the beginning of Toy Story 3, if you remember rightly, which is very reminiscent of Buster Keaton. There's many scenes in many movies that you can definitely pinpoint the General in that movie. And I was going to say about Chaplin and Keaton, I said at the beginning of the video, that I was going to sort of talk about them both together, and they're very different and similar at the same time. Keaton has a more subdued style. He's called Old Stoneface for a reason. He isn't as expressive in his face as Chaplin is, but he has this kind of bewilderment in his face, which is just as hilarious as Chaplin. I think that sometimes his subdued nature makes his films feel a little bit less dated, and I feel like he feels a little bit more his films feel a little bit more up to date and a bit more modern than Chaplin's films. But I have only seen 2 Chaplin movies and only 1 Keaton movie, so I can't really say with any real conviction who I prefer. I'll have to watch more of their films before I can really make that assumption. But I've enjoyed all of the films of Chaplin and Keaton that I've watched. But I would say that The General, personally, is my favourite of all of the films I've watched so far, being The Kid and Modern Times, both Chaplin films, and The General of Keaton. I think that Keaton's film is more, it holds up more to modern tastes. Even though Modern Times is a fantastic comedy and social, talk on social change, and The Kid is a very good film with fantastic sequences and great pathos, I think that The General just has the package and the action and the stunts that allow it to fit more to modern audiences' tastes. The only really con I can think of for this film is that there are definite dated moments, effects that they use in the film. One that jumps initially to mind is the scene in the rain in a storm, and the way they show lightning, it's like someone's drawn a line on a piece of paper as it goes across the frame. It looks so dated. There's another scene that I can't remember right now off the top of my head, but there are a few dated effects in the film that you can definitely tell would have been more polished nowadays. But considering the age of the film and considering how ambitious they were with the stunts and the things that they managed to do with it, and how it still works today, I was very impressed with The General, and overall I would say it's been my favourite silent film I've watched so far, out of the 3 that I mentioned. So yeah, I really enjoyed The General, and overall I think it deserves 9.5 out of 10. Not quite a 10, it's the same with the other 2 silent films. I wouldn't give them 10s because I'm not sure how many times I would watch them again. The General, to me, seems like the one that I would want to watch again more than any of the other films that I've watched so far. So there you go. Hopefully you've enjoyed my review of The General. If you want any more classic movie reviews, any more silent movie reviews, let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, like, subscribe, and as I said, comment. Let me know what you want. Any reviews that you really want me to do, just let me know. Just let me know in the comment section below. I probably will be doing a Modern Times review reasonably soon, but that will probably be not next week but the week after, because I was making a decision whether I wanted to do the review of The General or the review of Modern Times, and I kind of thought I would prefer to do a review of The General. So this is what this is. So I'll probably get Modern Times out after I come back from holiday. I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Goodbye.